Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our program this evening, the last one of the season. And we have a nice treat tonight. Sue Ellen Holland is going to take us on a little tour of Old Woburn shopping areas. And after that, we have a really nice film that you're going to enjoy on Voices from the Basement, all about the old Filene's basement. So it should be an enjoyable evening. And at this point, I'll just introduce Sue Ellen to take us on that little tour. Sue Ellen?
Can everybody hear me? Way back there? Better? Okay. That's it. Welcome, everyone, to the Woburn Historical Society's presentation of Shopping, a history of shopping in Woburn. I'm Sue Ellen Holland. I'm an assistant to the archivist of the Woburn Public Library. I'm also a member of the Woburn Historical Society. We would like to thank the Woburn Public Library for the use of their photos this evening. I would also like to acknowledge Linda Olson, a volunteer at the Public Library. She spent many hours with a lot of the photos you'll see tonight in the Farino photo collection. Thank you also to Ellen Hamilton, who's up front here. She's with the Woburn Historical Society also, but she's great with all of the technical help we received. I'd also like to thank a couple of people that gave me all kinds of stories to work with tonight. One is my husband, George Holland, my father, Bob Martin, and Bud Spence. They all gave me stories. They told me about shopping, socializing in Woburn over the years. Their information helped me to get a better understanding of the shopping area and of the social importance of those areas to Woburn. We'll start tonight's program with a short history of shopping in Woburn. This will be followed by the presentation of Michael Bavaro's short documentary, Voices from the Basement, a film about Boston's original Filene's basement. In researching shopping in Woburn, it was apparent to me that much of the shopping done in Woburn for many years took place in Woburn Center. This is an aerial view of Woburn Square, taken from the west and looking east. The photo was probably taken from the top of the train station that stood in Woburn Center for many years. Woburn City Hall is on the right, the Savings Bank building, the Unitarian Church, and the First Baptist Church are on the left. Woburn Common is in the center. This is Main Street in Woburn Center at the corner of Montvale Avenue. Montvale Ave is on the right. It was taken by someone standing about in front of the First Congregational Church. The corner store on the right is now the Ixtapa Mexican restaurant, and on the opposite corner, but unfortunately out of this photo, stood Souls Market. Woburn Common is on the left. Heading north on Main Street, this view was taken in 1914. While Lyceum Hall on the right no longer exists, many of the buildings on the left and the right are still standing. Continuing north on Main Street, we have this view from 1903, with a number of these buildings still standing. Just north of the center stood the Hammond Square Grocery. This is where the Donut Kitchen stood in later years. You can see part of the old YMCA building in the background. Linnell's Market sold groceries and other food products. Woodbury's Corner is in the center of Woburn. Today we call this area the Busy Bend. Here's another view of Woodbury's Corner. This was later the location of L.J. Murphy's drugstore and Moore & Parker. The Wade Block was one of the earliest stores in Woburn. It was established by John Wade, whose home was actually located in the rear of it. This is a later view of the Wade Block with the First Baptist Church in the background. For many years, Royal Furniture stood where the Wade Block had been established. The Central Market was another shopping venue in the center. This is the Allen Business Block. It was located at the southern end of the center. On the far right was the location for many years of Masoda's Variety Store. To the left is the Malvy's Florist building today. In 1857, James Buell opened a machine shop in the Simon's Shoe Factory on Main Street. In 1874, he built a machine shop on Buell Place, and the large block on Main Street and Buell Place became known as the Buell Block. The Buell Block was used for residential and business purposes. And once again, Masoda's Variety location is on the far right. Phillips was a popular store in the center. It was lost to a fire, unfortunately, in the 1940s. This is the Sunny Rose Foods and the Cummings store. They were located in Woburn Center. And although this picture isn't quite as clear, another popular location was Zimbel's Department Store. Here we have more of the things that you remember. This is Lucia's Market on the northern end of the center. It operated for many years. I know I often visited it with my grandparents, and I actually watched the old high school, or the Hanson School building when it was being taken down, right across the street when we were at Lucia's. That site is now a parking lot, and a convenience store now operates at the Lucia's location. Albert and Ernest Lucia, the owners of Lucia's Market. Many of the photos of various business owners that appear in this presentation were taken for ads that appeared in newspapers and business guides. Also, some of them appeared in a series that was in the local newspaper, The Times, and it was entitled People You Meet. The Ryan Company was located at 516 Main Street and sold electrical appliances. This is their storefront with an example of the Halloween window painting in which many of the downtown businesses participated around the holiday. Today, this is the site of the Careway Wellness Center. This is the Ryan Company display at the Pageant of Progress, which took place at the old Armory building that was on Montvale Ave, not the one on Main Street. The Ryan Company was run by the Ryan family. Fritz Ryan was killed while in the service. Lucky Ryan would later run the business and move it to the West Side, where he also became the proprietor of the Colonial Package Store, which is still run by the Ryan family. This was the grand opening of Weston Auto. It took place on April 30th, 1954. Weston Auto sold automotive parts. It was later the site of Tedesco's Shoe Repair, and today it's a hair salon. On the right is the sign for Kenny McMurray's Delicatessen. Kenny McMurray started a grocery store with a delicatessen at the rear of the store. It, of course, later would become Kenny's Delicatessen. According to my grandmother, they sold the best lobster salad and chicken salad sandwiches. In 1971, the building was destroyed in a fire. Kenny's would rebuild and expand into the space next door, becoming the popular Kenny's Deli and Restaurant. Leonard's Furniture would also move into the space south of it. Today, Kenny's building is the site of the restaurant, and the D&L Liquor Store occupies the space that housed Leonard's Furniture. At the center is Evelyn's Pastry Shop, owned by Pat and Evelyn Luongo. They advertise that they specialize in wedding cakes and French bread. On the right is the Wasing Laundry. On the left, Robert Newton Coiffeurs, owned for many years by Leon Huddig, where many ladies went to have their hair done. If we move left to right in this photo, O'Brien's Pharmacy, the City Fruit Store, Excellent Donut Shop, and Santoro's Submarine Sandwiches. Obviously, there was a fire in one of the buildings when this photo was taken. Today, the stores are Lewis's Barber Shop, China Delight, Cousins, and Santoro's is still there. This photo of O'Brien's Drug Store is on the corner of Main and Campbell Streets. The Esso station is in the background. Also in the background is Charlie's Paint and Supply Store at 4 Salem Street. Their ad read, 20 years experience, yours just for the asking. Charlie sold hardware, housewares, wallpaper, painting, plumbing, roofing, and electrical supplies. It would later become Wells Package Store. To the right of the paint store is Edward G. Boyle, lawyer at 6 Salem Street. It would later house the Boyle Insurance Agency. Today, both buildings are gone and a parking lot exists on the spot. However, the package store and Boyle Insurance, or Salem 5, still exist at other locations. Same corner, O'Brien's Drug Store at 471 Main Street is much more clearly visible in this photo. This is Vincent's Curtain Shop at 460 Main Street. They sold curtains, draperies, bedspreads, and shower sets. Vincent Nunziato was the proprietor. Also visible is the Flesher Furniture Store, which would become Leonard's Furniture and move across the street in later years. The Strand Movie Theater block. In this photo, children are lined up to attend a matinee. It was a showing of Gorilla at Large, starring Cameron Mitchell and Anne Bancroft. Note the empty gorilla cage in front of the theater. Now also look at the roof of the Central Radio Company beside the theater sign. If you look closely, there's a gorilla holding a child. That type of promotion would not be permitted today. Today, the Strand Theater is an indoor soccer facility. On the far right was Ward's Cut Rate, a drugstore. Until recent years, it was the Beneficial Finance Company at the corner of Union Street. Next to the Strand Theater is the Central Radio Company, owned by Ellis Flynn, which sold records, phonographs, radios, and televisions. To the left of the Strand Theater is Santoro's Sub Shop, which is still there today. This is an aerial view of the Strand Theater block. This shot is from the west, showing the northern end of the center with the Esso, or today it's the BP, gas station on the left. The Strand Theater block is in the center. Salem Street is on the left, Union Street is on the right, and Campbell Street is in the center. This is the Marquis Pastry and Party and Pastry Shop. It was located at 451 Main Street, near Larry Murphy's drugstore at the Busy Bend. And here's an interior view of the Marquis Party and Pastry Shop. Emil P. Marquis Jr. is shown here, and Catherine C. Marquis. They both specialized in expertly decorated wedding cakes, birthday cakes, and party cakes. Satisfaction assured was their motto. The cake in this photo says, WBZ TV, Channel 4, Happy Birthday, Jack Chase. This is a photo of the early Sears Roebuck and Company store and the early A&P grocery store. They were in Woburn Center at the corner of Everett Street. It's another photo of Sears Roebuck and Company. And this is an interior shot of the Sears store. It appears that they're building a boat in the store. This is Sparks at 441 Main Street. Their advertisement read, quote, a household name in Woburn for greater savings in women's and children's wear. And this is a Sparks window display. This is another view of Sparks and Edison, the light and power company, which was located at 439 Main Street. Today, the block of stores where Sears, Sparks, and Edison stood is the location of Salem 5, Boyle Insurance Agency, and Blockbuster Video. This is at the corner of Main and Everett Streets. And that's my mistake. I have it listed as the Gorans site. It was not. We're still a block away from Gorans. And on the corner of Main and Walnut Streets, we have Gorans Department Store. Woburn actually had a number of department stores at this time. In addition to Sears and Gorans, there was W.T. Grant at 407 Main Street, J.J. Newberry's at 425 Main, and Zimbel's Department Store at 329 Main Street. Today, the Gorans building at 415 Main Street is occupied by CVS. We have an interior view of Gorans with several of their employees. This is a Gorans department store window display. In this photograph, there is a fire over the Wholesome Restaurant at 442 Main Street. To the left is Art's Jewelry Company. To the right is Mohegan Beef Company at 444 Main Street. And Bond Shoe Store was at 446. Today, moving from left to right, you would see a nail salon, a martial arts gym, an insurance agency, and Elements Massage Therapy. Art's Jewelry Company, which advertised art-carved diamonds since 1850. Today it is a nail salon. On the right is the Wholesome Restaurant. Today it is a martial arts studio. And on the left is the Fireside Gift Shop. And here we have an interior view of the Fireside Gift Shop, displaying their many greeting cards and gift items. Shown in the photo is Grace Greenan. Today, Hot Bread's Bakery occupies this site. This is an interior shot of the J.J. Newberry's department store, where we can see yarn and baby clothes for sale. The woman in the photo may be a member of Woburn's Chamber of Commerce at the time, because she appears in a number of the Farino photos of the various businesses. Here we have a view of Main Street on Merchants Day, looking south. At the center and in the background is Woburn Common. On the right-hand side of the street, there is W.T. Barnes Furniture Store. The Woburn Surplus Store was an Army-Navy store. Woburn Cab Company, which is there today. On the left-hand side of the street, we can see Bond Shoe, which today is Dunkin' Donuts. Adrian's Fabric Store, which operated for many years at this location. The Tom McGann Shoe Store, and the F.W. Woolworth Store, today the site of the Tremonte Restaurant. Continue on the left-hand side of the street, Robert's Jewelry is visible, and beyond that, one would find Scott's Tobacco Shop, owned by Saul Levine, which was on Main Street until the early 1950s, when it moved to a larger location on Walnut Street, just off of the center. Eventually, Scott's Tobacco would move to East Woburn, beside Route 128, and become Woburn Vending Company. Just beyond Scott's Tobacco is the Busy Bend, where the L.J. Murphy drugstore was located next to Moore and Parker. I am told that many discussions of Woburn politics took place in Murphy's drugstore on an almost daily basis. It was a local gathering place. This is a photo of the Nepris clothing fire sale. It was held at Fahey's in 1955. Nepris Clothing was located at 474 Main Street and specialized in children's and menswear. They suffered a fire, and the fire sale was held at Fahey's at 420 Main Street. To the right of Fahey's, we have Mahoney's Barbershop, where you had your best haircut. Mahoney's is still in business at 400 Main Street today. The Woburn Meat Shop was located at 406 Main. It specialized in meats to your liking, a complete line of frozen foods, and wholesale cuts of meats for home freezers. The same building now houses a hair salon. To the right, at 408 Main Street, is the City Cleaners. And here we have an interior view of the Woburn Meat Shop. Across the street was the F.W. Woolworth building. Unfortunately, I don't have any photos of the outside of the Woolworths, but this is an interior view of Woolworths. Beside Royal Furniture was Silverman's Men's Shop and Bill's Boys Clothing. They were located at 394 and 398 Main Street for many years. They carried a complete line of men's and boys' wear, sportswear, and tuxedo rentals. They closed in recent years, and the building now houses National Music. An interior view of Silverman's men's department. And here we have an interior view of Silverman's showing Bill Silverman. Across the street, Bell Shops at 385 Main Street sold women's clothing. To the right is Kennedy's, which sold butter and eggs. The Bell Shop building has recently been renovated and today houses a restaurant. Something that I learned while researching this project was that the Bell Shops were actually the forerunners of Zayre department stores. This photo was taken during the Lions Halloween Parade. The parade was originally held on Halloween night. In the background, you can see Robert's Jewelry, Built Well, Luann's, which later was the Bell Shop in the previous photo, Kennedy and Company, which is now the Green Basil Restaurant, and L.J. Murphy Drugstore, which is now Woburn Cafe. Here we have a rainy day looking north on Main Street from Woburn Common. From right to left, you see L.J. Murphy's Drugstore, J.A. Cigar, Kennedy and Company, Ring Clear Shops, Salinger's Men's Clothing, Robert Jewelry, F.W. Woolworth, Tom McGann's, W.T. Grant Company, and First National Store. There was plenty of shopping in Woburn Center. Here we have a view of Main Street looking north from the Common. The Busy Bend is on the right. The Busy Bend area was a gathering place on Friday nights. I am told that men would bring their wives and mothers to the center to shop on Fridays, and the men would socialize while waiting for the shopping to be completed. This photo was taken outside of Moore & Parker's on Main Street at the Busy Bend. Moore & Parker advertised themselves as stationers and news dealers at this time. They are still in the same location. In the background, you can see Royal Furniture and Silverman's. Royal Furniture was formerly known as Caldwell's Furniture. And Royal Furniture operated for many years, and only in recent years did they cease operations and the building was sold. Here we have a window display from Moore & Parker's. And this is an interior view of Moore & Parker's. I like to see that tin ceiling that they have up there. We now move past the Halliday and Fallon grocery store and are outside Barney Callahan's. His was a soda fountain and ice cream shop. This is the location today of Citizens Park. Note the boy on the bicycle looking in the window. He's probably heading in for ice cream. This is an interior view of Carl's Restaurant and Delicatessen, which advertised home-cooked meals. In this photo, there is a fire over Carl's Delicatessen and Bernard's Home Furnishings. Also visible is the Smith Art Store and the Woburn National Bank. Woburn National Bank was started by the Johnson family, and in 1955, the bank advertised over a century of sound banking. Today, it is a Citizens Bank, and also visible in this photo is Adrian's Fabric and Trimmings, which is also part of the Citizens Bank building today. This is an Adrian's Fabric Store display at the Pageant of Progress that took place at the Old Armory building on Montvale Ave. Located at 351 Main Street was Barbara Stone, who carried a complete line of women's wearing apparel. Later, and for many years, Brigham's Ice Cream was located here. And today, it is the Oriental Restaurant. A&C Sporting Goods was located just a few steps off of Main Street on Montvale Ave. It was operated by Bing Crosby and Bernie Golden. And here we have Bing Crosby of the A&C Sporting Goods. Cannon Nealon was located at 23 Montvale Ave in Woburn Center. Woburn's oldest and largest wallpaper store was how it advertised itself in the 50s. They carried window shades, Venetian blinds, paint, and painter's supplies. To the left is the former headquarters of the Woburn Daily Times. And today the Peterson School occupies the newspaper site, and the Woburn Daily Times Chronicle is located on Arrow Drive in Woburn. Here's an interior view of Cannon Nealon with Mr. Hugh Nealon in the photo. This store was located next to A&C Sporting Goods, which was next to Souls Market, located on the corner of Main Street and Montvale Ave. Souls Market was a grocery store that sold meats, groceries, and vegetables. Continuing along Main Street, we visit the City Fish Market at number 337. And in this photo, the fish market has just been purchased by Alfred Rice from the family of Hugh McPartlin, who had delivered fish door to door. Also in the photo is 15-year-old assistant Harold Foley. Along this Main Street block was Henry Ballua, the jeweler. He was established in 1921 at 327 Main Street. And for at least the Woburn High classes of 1950 and 51, I am told that Henry Ballua gave sterling silver spoons to each of the women who graduated. The Ballua building would later be bought by the Mon family to house their law accounting offices and become the first location of what is today known as the Northern Bank and Trust Company. Today, Malvy's Florist occupies the building. At 307 Main Street, we had Masoda's Variety. And in this photo, Phil and Marguerite Masoda are celebrating young Marguerite's first birthday while holding their twins, Geraldine and Phyllis. This photo was taken in 1960. Further south on Main Street was Manley's Cleaners. This sign was inside Manley's Cleaners and Laundromat, advertising their weekly drawing for 25 silver dollars. Manley's is still located at 227 Main Street. They always advertised in by 10 and out by 5. Manley's Cleaners became Easy Way Cleaners and a part of the Easy Way Center under the operation of Ed and Virginia Canny for many years. The Town Book Fair and Dairy Mart were located in the Easy Way Center. The book fair was a very popular shopping venue. They sold cards, books, stationery, and gifts. It was managed for many years by Art Duffy, including the several years that I worked there while I was in school. In fact, I think that's Art Duffy's car parked out front. Here's another view of the book fair with the famous fountain wall. I used to kid Ed Canny that he had built a beautiful wall in the center of a parking lot. But inside it was actually a very pretty fountain and a display area. I worked there the summer that it was built, and one of those that I remember was helping to build it was Joe Tarby, who today is a local attorney. This is the Town Tot Fair. It was also located in the Easy Way Center. It was operated for many years by Honey Regan Banks, and it carried a full line of infant and children's clothing. This was an advertisement for the Town Tot Fair that appeared in the Woburn Daily Times. And this is a photo of the Town Tot Fair during its going out of business sale. All of these photos of Easy Way Center and the Town Tot Fair were sent to me by Honey Banks. In front of the A&P food store that was then located in the South End, we encountered the Mayor Shaughnessy for Treasurer campaign. Today, the A&P building houses Walgreens. On the far right of the photo, we can see Doherty's Market, a one-time grocery store that later became a package store, and that was torn down a few years ago. Here we have Joe O'Brien and Sons Paint and Wallpaper Store at 157 Main Street. It was located in the same building and next to Doherty Brothers. They were located next to the A&P store, which is now Walgreens, and in this photo here we have Joe O'Brien and his 5 sons, Joe Jr., Hugh, Jay, Tom, and Ned. The youngest son, Ned O'Brien, later served in the U.S. Navy and would become Woburns' 3rd casualty of the Vietnam War. The Gold Top Bakery was owned and managed by Mary J. Piker. In the background is the Dairy Cone Ice Cream. Today, Tangle's Hair Salon and Nana Bet's Ice Cream are located here. In earlier years, this was the site of the Edward S. Lyons Belt and Knife Company that manufactured equipment used in the tanneries. The firm had actually been started by his father-in-law, Charles Porter, for whom Porter Street in the area is named. And here is an interior view of the Gold Top Bakery. There were also some stores located in different areas of Woburn, such as Four Corners on the west side. We don't have photos of all of them, but there was a First National store on Lexington Street, where an office building stands today. Jack Porter's store was located at the corner of Bedford Road and Willow Street. It carried groceries and canned goods and was a popular meeting place after dances around the time of World War II. Today, that store is part of a house. In North Woburn, there was Shelzy's store, a convenience store that also sold penny candy. The Pasta Pot later occupied that building. Tancredi's Pharmacy, which had a soda fountain, was located at the corner of Main and School Streets in North Woburn. Richie's Deli was at the site of the former Hartnett's Deli. And Shippers was another store that was at the corner of Main and Nichols Street, now occupied by the Brazilian restaurant. And then we come to the construction of Route 128 through Woburn. It would be one of the most important contributors to the growth of Woburn's businesses and industries, but it would also lead to the decline of Woburn Center as a shopping area, and it would end many of Woburn's mom and pop stores. Though plans had been underway since the 1930s for a highway around the Boston area, and parts of it from Lynn to the North Shore had been constructed, the stretch from Newton to Linfield was not completed until 1951. The grand opening was held on August 24th, 1951, with a host of local officials and state officials on hand. Woburn, along the highway areas, had become attractive to large department stores, grocery store chains, and malls. One of the first grocery stores to locate near the Main Street 128 Rotary was Purity, a grocery store. It was started by Leo Kahn, who built his family's wholesale business into the Purity Supreme grocery chain. Then he co-founded the Staples Office Supply Company and was a pioneer of selling natural foods in supermarket-sized venues. Directly beside Purity stood the Zayre department store. Although the first Zayre store did not open until 1956, the chain's beginnings date back to 1919, when Max and Morris Feldberg formed an underwear and hosiery wholesale company. 10 years later, the brothers launched their first retail operation, which soon became known as the Bell Shops, one of which was located in Woburn Center. With the second generation at the helm, they decided on discounting. They decided to open discount stores. That was the direction they were going to take the Zayre Company. They would construct new stores, many of them alongside supermarkets. The first Zayre store opened in Hyannis, Massachusetts, and it was 5,000 square feet. Within a few years, Zayre stores would average 70,000 to 90,000 square feet. This is an interior shot of an early Zayre store. The name Zayre came from the Jewish phrase sehr gut, meaning very good. The Feldbergs decided to spell it Z-A-Y-R-E for very good. And that's just how that red sign used to flash over there at the Main Street 128 Rotary. We have another interior photo of the Zayre store. Another of the large stores to open near 128 was Bradley's. Bradley's was a chain of discount department stores that first opened in 1958. There was a Bradley's store on Washington Street, beside 128, where the Kohl's department store stands today. The Bradley's chain went bankrupt in the year 2000, and all of the stores were closed by March of 2001. With the rise of large discount store operations, the downtown shopping districts began to decline. Here we have an aerial view of Woburn Center. The other option that shoppers from Woburn had was to get on the train and head into Boston, where you had such stores as Jordan Marsh and Filene's. And in this final view, taken from the west looking east, the Woburn Public Library is in the foreground at the bottom of the photo. We would like to thank the library for the use of their photos in tonight's program. And as we take a final look at Woburn Center, let's get ready to take that train to Boston and visit Filene's basement in the upcoming documentary called Voices from the Basement. Thank you.